Okay, well, thank you again, you guys, for taking time to get on. And I'm super excited to talk tonight and connect. So thanks, like I said, for taking time. I know plugging in, we always talk about as one of our priorities. And I know I want to welcome Michelle, who is our brand new consultant on Elaine's team. We were actually, right before this, we were doing a getting started call with her. So this is her first call, and she's already plugging in and getting activity. So welcome. So what we're going to talk about tonight is a couple of things, and that is sharing Arbonne with people. I know we talk about like our party system or group presentations, get-togethers, all that, where we're sharing Arbonne with, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that a hostess invites, and we do the product sampling. But we also, that's the most efficient way to share Arbonne, because obviously you're having an average of, let's say, 5 people at each one. So when we say, our system for success is to share Arbonne with 40 people each month, if you're doing those and you have 5 people at each one, that's 8 of them. So 8 time slots a month. But then we also fill in with doing what we call one-on-ones, where you're meeting somebody individually for the business, or for the business and for the products, and just to share Arbonne with them. Those are great. One-on-ones are great if you have a more flexible schedule. If you don't, right now they're tricky for me just because I have 3 kids. So it's tricky with like sitter and juggling all of that. But with school getting ready to start, 2 of them are going to be in school. So I'm going to try to fit some more of them in. Some people, the one-on-ones fit great in their schedule because they can fit them here and there throughout the day or on their lunch break. It's a great way if somebody can't come to a party or says no, and you're like, hey, let's just get together and grab a cup of coffee or tea or whatever. I'd love to share it with you. So really you're going to be, I want to just talk briefly through, they're very similar, but I want to talk through the 2 different situations really that you would be getting together and what you want to use and how you want to do it to share Arbonne with someone. So you're going to be either getting together with them just to share Arbonne. Like I said, like it's somebody you're going to say, hey, I just started this business, or hey, I don't know if you know I'm doing Arbonne. I love these products and I love this business. Like I would just love to get together and share Arbonne with you. Do you have a time that we could just get together, grab a cup of coffee for 30 minutes or something? So that's going to be where, and we're going to talk through, I'm going to show you the tools I use, where you're just kind of sharing general overview of Arbonne with them. And then at the end, going to see what's a fit for them. The other time, and this is what I primarily, my one-on-ones are for, just like I said, because I said when I'm sharing Arbonne in general with people, it's more in the party setting right now. And then I'll set up one-on-ones for sharing, specifically sharing the business with people. So that's people that I've reached out to or met at a party and said, hey, I think you'd be great at this, or would you be interested in checking this out if I've just met them, or someone that's come to my mind or from my list that I call and say, this is why I thought of you. I don't know if it would be a fit for you or not, but I would love to just get together so I can share it with you. And if it's not a fit, that's fine, but I think you'd be great at it. And here's why, and I let them know. So that's where you're going to be coming and you're sharing specifically to get to the business with them. So the key for this is that you want to use a tool. Anytime you're sharing Arbonne with somebody or doing something, you want to use a document or a tool or something to show, because if you just sit there, I mean, I could sit there. I don't necessarily need anymore. I've been doing this for 10.5 years. I don't need like my notes to know what to say anymore, but I still take them because surprisingly, actually, sometimes I do. It helps keep you on track and focused, but more so to show them, because if I just sit there and I share all this information and these numbers and all this stuff with them, they're like, wow, that was amazing, but I could never do that. Whereas if they see me sharing information off of this sheet or these slides or this flip chart, people are like, oh, okay, she's sharing from that. And obviously you're going to add your personality and your story to connect in with them, but you always want to use a tool so that you're showing our system for success and that we have tools in place to help you execute our system. So for sharing with Arbonne, with people in this kind of setting individually, for like the group kind of thing, we have like our presentation cards. You could totally use those for something like this still too. But I want to show you, let me share my screen. There's kind of a couple of different options. What I used to always do was use if in the source, you go to Discover Arbonne, if you search Discover Arbonne, or if you go on Carlita's, it's carlitanelson.com. She's one of our EMVPs, her website. Also, Tammy Higginbotham has a Dropbox that a lot of you are added to as well. So it's going to be the same document in all of those, but it's called a Discover Arbonne. And you can bring it up. I've taken my laptop or my iPad and just brought it up, and you kind of just go through the slides. I've also just printed it in the past if I didn't feel like dealing with technology. I just kind of print it and flip through them. And you don't even have to be like, here's my presentation and get all presentation-y. You can have it sitting in front of you and be glancing at it, or you can be like, hey, I'm new at this. I'm still learning. I know sometimes it helps people to see something. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to kind of help share from this. And you're going to find the more you do it, honestly, the more you do it, the more you're going to learn and get better at it. But you can go right through that Discover. I would even recommend going through it. Well, not recommend. I really recommend. You want to practice and go through it and get familiar with it ahead of time. Now, I'm going to share my screen so you can see what it is I'm talking about. What am I share desktop? So here's the Discover, and it really just goes through first talking about. Now, you don't need to say every word on here, but this is why especially if you're newer to Arbonne, I want you to go through this and read it and read it and read it, because you're going to start remembering and understanding this wording. And you're going to be able to pull out the key pieces that are going to connect and apply with the person you're talking with. So, talking first about the foundation of Arbonne and our history, and then we're a product-driven company. So you're going to talk about, everything we do is through this sharing and selling of our products that are absolutely amazing. So you're going to touch first, here on talking through our products and our product philosophy. Again, you don't have to sit here and read every word, but that's why you want to be really familiar with it, so you can even highlight or pull out the key ones, pure, safe, and beneficial. And then some of the key things that we formulate without, what really sets our products apart. Now, this is where it would just be a little bit different if you're sharing the product, if you're getting together, like I said, to just share in general Arbonne with someone and say, hey, I would love to share Arbonne with you. You're going to want to go through all of this because, like I said, we're a product-driven company, so you obviously have to lead with sharing about our products and what we stand for. If you've just come off of, for example, my last party, I met somebody and she was interested in checking out the business. So we made an appointment. We were going to get together that Friday, which it ended up falling through. But anyway, if we had gotten together, or when I get together with someone that has already been to a party or already been using the Arbonne products, I don't necessarily go through this whole part because they've just heard it at a party or they've already been using Arbonne. So they're familiar with it. But if they're not familiar at all with Arbonne, then you definitely want to go through this part. And then, just talking about the different types of products we offer. And our main product categories, as we know, are our anti-aging skincare and our nutrition. All of our products are amazing, but those are the kind of main ones. We always want to focus a little bit on each of those so that we're meeting people where their interest is. And so this, again, is just kind of talking through that. So you can kind of breeze through this, and then it goes into the business part. So I always mention if I'm with somebody who is, I'm just saying I want to share Arbonne with you, I'll still touch on this part and say, I don't know if you are looking for an income or know anybody that is, but there's also an amazing income opportunity behind these products. And, the way it's set up is through what's called social marketing. And it's really just a simple way of distribution. I pull out a few key phrases from this slide. And then, again, just kind of touching briefly on these. And then when you get to sharing, that how we teach you how you build an organization, that it starts with you, and then you just continue sharing Arbonne with people and teach those people to share people. We're a global opportunity. And then I share the income opportunity part. So if I might not go through every one of those slides, the key ones are, like I said, our products, what makes or as far as what makes our products different and what products we offer, what social marketing is, and then our income levels here. And sharing with people that we have a proven system for success. That's one of the key things to share. And then where do you see yourself? So now I know I touched on a few different ways to be a part of Arbonne, whether you're a consultant and looking at building an income or extra income with this, or our discount program, or you can also host. Okay, I'm going to see your questions. Oh yeah, okay. So if they're already a part of another social marketing company, I mean, if they've been open to getting together with you, then you're still just gonna share like you normally would. And I guess it depends on why they're getting together with you. If they're considering switching, or I think I know, Ash, you said you were getting together with somebody who is a part of one, and you said to her, I think you told me this yesterday, that you wanted to just practice, right? And like share with her what it is you're doing so that you can practice. So just do it like you normally would. And now when you get to this part, where do you see yourself? You could say to her, like, I know you're involved in another company. I would love to hear after you've heard this information, like, what do you think? Does anything stand out to you, or what are your thoughts? You could ask her that. So I kind of end on that one, on where do you see yourself, and then working with them from there with what information they need to have next. So I'm going to share another document with you in a second too. So that's kind of, I would use that as a general, like I said, go through those, sharing with them the products, what social marketing is, and show them the income levels, and then say, where are you interested in hearing more about? Are you interested in hearing more about the business, more about preferred client program, or more about hosting and getting our discount that way? And then let it go from there. And then there's what I really wanted to focus more on specifically is those who you're getting together to share the business with. Again, you can go right through that document or those slides, whether it's on your iPad or whatever, or you have them printed out. And the thing you want to focus on, especially when you're getting together with someone for the business, I like to ask them, in the beginning, you want to spend the first few minutes, at least 5 minutes, really, having them talk, especially if it's somebody you don't know very well. As you get going in this, you're going to be meeting people at parties and stuff that you're going to get together with. So I start by finding out just about, like, okay, do you currently work? Do you have kids? Are you married? Are you single? Are you from here? Just people love to talk about themselves. So if you'll ask questions about them, they'll share. And then I also, so after I get kind of the basic info of their current situation and background and stuff, I like to ask, so obviously, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. You're obviously interested in hearing about this income opportunity. So that I give you the right information, I would love to hear if you can just share with me what interests you about this business opportunity. What is it you're looking for? Is there a certain income amount, or what intrigues you about having your own business with Arbonne? And then also any questions you have, or even like fears or hesitations, just lay it all out on the table right now. Then I just let them talk. So they start with what interests them, what excites them, what they're looking for. And then I say, what questions or fears, hesitations, anything like that you might have. And as they're telling them to me, I don't answer them right then. I write them down, because otherwise then you just get in this like long rambling conversation that's not like all tied together. So I say, just fire them at me right now so I can make sure I answer them with the information I'm sharing you. So they might be like, well, how much does it cost to get started? And I just don't know if I know enough people. So like I write those down so that I make sure I tie those in and address them with the information I'm sharing. All the time, almost all the time, any of the fears or hesitations they have are addressed in the information we're going to share. But you can make sure to highlight that and say, now I know you were worried about, how much does it cost to get started? But here it is, and you're going to explain, make sure that you highlight at that point, you're going to let them know, It's only $79, it's about $99 with shipping and tax, and then you're going to get 50% off product packages, and we're going to work with you based on your situation and your budget, in moving forward with that. Or I don't know if I know enough people. So when you get to that slide that shows, it starts with you and has all these other people, you're going to say, it just starts with a few people, and we're going to work with you. One of the first things we have you do is write out a list of people and we're going to equip you with what approach to take with each of them. And it just honestly starts growing and growing and growing from there. So that's how I do it. And then I say, okay, I would love to share the information with you. So then I wanted to show you briefly another little tool that you can use if you're not going to use the whole slide system that I just showed you. I do recommend, like I said, be familiar with those slides because they have a lot of information on there. So you do want to read that and know that because it'll help give you what to say. But there is another nice little guideline of document. It's all like on 2 pages, is Arbonne for you. And this is, can you guys see it? If you want, thank you, Emily. So this one is basically has all of that information, those key points I said to hit on for sharing the business with someone, on these 2 pages. So you can have this printed out. So again, it's talking with our history, our product advantage, what is social marketing, why Arbonne, our compensation plan, and then closing it out. So it just has those brief bullet points of key things that you want to hit on. So even print this out. You can even write your own notes like on this if you want to make sure you're adding. Do I have one for them? Stephanie, it's great. I actually will send it home with them. Yeah, I'll usually use this document. If I'm not using this document and I'm using the slides, I'll send the document home with them. Or I'll just use this document and go through it and then send it home with them. I don't know why it keeps. So again, this is all the same information, just in more condensed form and hits those points. So I recommend using either one of those things to keep you on track. And like I said, using the tool. And then after you've shared the information, the important thing is closing it out. And with every interaction we have with people, in Arbonne, your goal is to set up the next exposure. So your goal is to set up what is the next step, the next time they're going to be experiencing Arbonne before they leave. So I like to just end with, okay, I know I shared all that information. Oh, actually, before I do that, I like to say, this is not on that document, but I like to say, I just want to give you a visual of how this business works. After they've heard all this information, typically it sounds great, right? Especially after they've seen the income levels, it's like, well, that sounds awesome. So I say, I just want to show you, it's after I share the income levels, I'll say, I just want to share and show you, give you a visual of how this business works. So can you tell me, just off the top of your head, the first 3 people that come to your mind who are, it doesn't matter where they live, doesn't matter if they're going to be interested in Arbonne or not, but tell me the first 3 people who come to your mind who are successful at what they do already, or they are a hard worker, they love helping other people, or that they're looking for or need an income right now. And nobody's ever been like, I don't know. They're usually like, let me think about it and name. I was like, just give me the first names of 3 people. So I take a sheet of paper. I should have done this so I could show you, but I take a sheet of paper and I write a circle with their name in it. So let's say Emily, I'm starting you. I would write a circle and I would put Emily in it. And then I would draw 3 other circles around it and put the first names of those people that she gave me. And say, okay, so this is just an example of how we're going to go through. These people may or may not want to do Arbonne with you, but it's just our job to share it and show them what it could do for them. And typically, we promote and get paid based on sales. So it doesn't have to be a certain number of people, but it's you plus 3 other people doing our system for success that we're going to teach and train you that will promote the amount of sales you need to promote to area manager. And so then I'll show on that document or whatever, where the average income is $1,000 to $3,000 a month. And I'll say, so we can start you, or we can start you plus 3 other people at the same time, because I can just train you guys all together. And right away in your first month, you can shoot right to that level and start making that kind of income and growing an organization. I'm going to partner with you, and our other leaders are going to partner with you. So don't freak out, because I know you don't know how to do that yet, but we're going to show you. So that's how it works. So that visual, I really recommend doing that visual, because it shows people the simplicity of it. It helps them understand why they want to share the business and duplicate. And that it doesn't take, because I know sometimes people can think like, oh, well, if I'm going to be making, if I'm going to be making $10,000 a month, I need to be having, 400 people on my team or something. So it actually gives them a simple visual that anybody can relate to see. And they've already named people that you're going to partner with them to share the business with, right off the top of their head. So you've already got your next step of what you need to do. So after we've done that, I say, so I know that was a lot of info. I would love to hear, so that I know what next step is going to be best. So it's not, I want to know if you're interested or not. It's like, what's our next step? Because there's going to be a next one. I just need to know which one is what I'm basically saying. Like, what's our next step? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the business isn't for me right now. I'd love to try the products out. Or some people say 1 being, I never want to hear Arbonne again, but I don't see that as an option. So I just say 1 being, I want to just try the products. You can pick whatever you want for 1. And 10 being, yes, I want to get started. What's my next step? Where do you see yourself? And then just be quiet. Like, stop talking. That's the hard part for me. Just like, stop talking. Let them think. Let them answer, and listen when they answer. And if they're anything from like a 1 to a 5, you're always basically going to be like, hey, why don't you just, if they haven't hosted yet, why don't you just have a few people over and see what we do? I'll bring products. That way you can try more of the products. We'll get you more of the products, and we'll, keep the conversation going from there. And you can earn our great host rewards in the process, nothing to lose. If they're like a 5 to 8, I kind of do the same thing, where it's like, first of all, I say, what is it that's holding you back? And they might be, well, I got to talk to my husband, or I don't know, I got to think about it or whatever. And so then I'm going to say, why don't you just book, a get together so you can see what it is we do and you can experience it. If they're like an 8 or 9, but not a 10, I'm going to be like, okay, what's between you and a 10? And a lot of times it's like, well, I'm just not sure. And I'm like, is it, what? I think that a lot of times it's just that fear of saying yes to something new and diving in and committing. We all get afraid to do that. I'm like the biggest, people will be like, do you want to come over in 3 weeks? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll tell you when I get to that week. But people, and I'm like, if that's what it is, like I say, just dive in. Like sometimes they just need that like encouragement and that push and be like, just say yes. Let's just do it and just start moving forward. And the beauty of it is there is nothing to lose. And I'm going to walk with you, and you're going to set the pace. Like, let's just start moving forward. And if at any time anything changes, you just tell me. Like, I want you to be honest and open and communicate with me where you're at. But, honestly, an 8 is as good as a 10. Let's just do this and start making it be successful for you. I would love to work with you. We're going to have a ton of fun. And sometimes they're like, okay, yeah. If they're still not, again, just have them book a party. And so at the minimum, like you're typically walking away with a party from the one-on-ones, if not getting ready to launch somebody. So I just want to wrap it up with actually what I would do if they're not certain about getting started, but they're somewhere between like a 5 to an 8, and you've hopefully booked a party with them. I would say, the next step that would be great to do, obviously you've got the party, but I want to talk to you guys about, because I know there's some of you who are new on here, and I don't know that we've really talked about this in a while, so you might not be familiar with this tool, but it's it's a 3-way phone call with you and your prospect and a VP. So regional vice president or national vice president typically, because, and what that does is what you would do in this situation is say, hey, you know, I know you're not certain about this. That's fine. I totally get it takes time to decide. Why don't we do this? Like, they're looking for you. You're the consultant, right? It's our job to consult. So always, I love using the wording no matter what situation I'm in, whether it's getting somebody to book or products or in this kind of situation, say, why don't we do this? Or what we usually do with people, you know, for people who aren't certain, what we usually do is, or why don't we do this? And just connect you. And we'll just do a quick call with one of the women who is at one of those VPs levels. They've earned their Mercedes. They've been doing this for a while, but they're real people. They're there to help support and train us and can answer your questions and just help partner with me to make sure you have all the information you need. It's not going to be pressure or anything. Like, she's totally cool. She's totally normal. And, you know, why don't we do that? And then I usually say, for something like that, does during the day or the evening work better? Or does the week or weekend work better? So I kind of just guide it instead of like a yes or no. It's like kind of what time is better to do something like that. And I'm going to actually, hold on. I almost plugged my computer in because I thought it was going to die, and I was hoping I was going to have enough battery, but it's warning me. So hold on one second. I'm really sorry. I'm going to go grab my phone, my computer charger, because I have to plug it in. Oh, of course it's on the other side. Okay. So that's a really great next step. And what you're going to do with that is we can either do it right here on Zoom so that we can get the personal face-to-face, or we can just do it on the phone. And the great thing about utilizing, I mean, I used to do three-way phone calls all of the time with my upline and stuff. And it's great because it adds like that third-party validation, right? So it just, and it adds somebody, they're getting connected right away with someone who has built this business to one of the top levels, and connects them with seeing that support and that success. And also it's going to help you, because the beauty of it is the way I do three-way phone calls is, you know, you introduce us and then you typically sit back and even mute your phone so that there's not, because we don't want it to be like 2 against 1, right? Like, that's not the goal. We're like 2 of us are talking to this one person. So typically you introduce us and then you've maybe given me some background information and stuff on them ahead of time and where they're at and that kind of stuff. And then you can even mute your phone or something for that 15, 20 minutes, whatever. And it's great training for you because you're going to get to hear, whether it's me or you can plug into Tammy as our national vice president to do this as well, which is nice because it's like whoever's personality or situation might relate more. You can plug, you know, either of us in. She'd be happy to do them. And it's going to get you trained on how to like paint the picture big and how to share the business and bridge that gap and connect the dots and set up those next steps, because you're going to get to like listen to the like this like live real time someone sharing the business and answering questions and all of that. So that's a great tool to use. Again, it's helps you get trained and learn, especially in the beginning, anytime in your business. And it's going to also help validate you, because we're going to build up, you know, I always make sure to build up you as a leader to them and saying, you're going to be in great hands with them. Like, you guys should do this together. You're going to partner. And then they're also seeing that support and stuff that's available right away too. So I want to encourage you guys to utilize those. And like I said, the way I usually say it is just, hey, I would just love to connect you. We could do a video chat or just chat on the phone with one of the women who, you know, has been doing this for a while, is at one of those top levels. And that way you can just make sure you have all the information you need, and she can answer any other questions to help you as you're continuing to move forward and making your decision. And then just setting up a time that works. So what you can do is when you're going into a one-on-one, you can text me and say like, hey, what are a few times you have, or what's generally your best time? So you can do that. If you're going to use me, same thing with Tammy. You can also just set a time with them that right there on the spot, you want to set something. So set something that works for the two of you, and then check and see, hey, does this time work? And if it doesn't, maybe then we can tweak it, or you can plug in like with Tammy, or we can find somebody who it'll work with. But those are a couple of ways to go about actually scheduling it. And then, so I want to give you guys a challenge with the whole 3-way phone call thing, because I think it's a great tool to utilize. It also shows your prospect that you don't have to be an expert, like that you can plug in to other people so that they're not looking at you again thinking like, oh, she knows so much or she can do so much, like I could never do that. It's like, hey, I'm just following these slides and then I'm plugging you into somebody else. And they're like, I could do that. We want to keep it as simple and streamlined as possible. So I want to give you a challenge to each do 1 3-way phone call by the end of the week. And those of you who do 3 3-way phone calls, by this time next Wednesday, by our next Wednesday call, I'm going to send a bag of Fit Chews too, as a little gift, a little prize for you. Plus, you're going to have a new business builder probably, because if we're sharing the business with 3 people, probably one of them is going to get started with you. So that's going to be fun too for you. So I'm going to post an outline. Actually, I don't know if she posted it or not, but Bree Morris, who is at a business meeting tonight, so I know she's not on right now, but she typed out, she's a super organized person, and so she typed out basically, as I've been training her and shared the business with her, and then the person that she started, she kind of typed out an outline of key things to say through those slides or through this sheet of Is Arbonne for You, that she found helpful, that I was coaching her to say, to do and to say, and how to kind of like paint the picture, big picture, and do the circle chart and all that. So I'll post that if that's helpful for you guys, to use either reading ahead of time or having along with you to keep you on track. You don't have to use it, but I thought it was great because it was like, oh yeah, that's like what you would want to say at the social marketing part or at this part or whatever. So the key is just to practice, and practice out loud. Because I know so many times, I say things in my head and I'm like, oh yeah, I know what I'm going to say. It's going to be great. And then you go to say it out loud and it's like, bleh. You're like, it sounded so much better in my head, because in your head, what you're trying to say, right? And then when you go to say it, so say it out loud and practice it. Practice it with your upline. This is one of the things I love Voxer for, is practicing wording or saying things or presentations or your iStory, that kind of stuff. Because you can have it recorded, so you can hear it over and over again. So feel free to utilize that with us too, if you want help, or hey, how does this sound, or what should I say for this? So that's the info. I hope that all helped make sense. I want to open it up. If anybody has any questions, or anybody else has anything to add on the topic of one-on-ones for sharing the business, for 3-way phone calls, any of that, feel free.
Hey Marie, it's Stephanie again. I just had a quick question about scheduling. If this logistically we could do it easier, is there a way for you to post available 3-way times and then we kind of claim them?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Just so that we're not playing phone tag back and forth.
Period, you mean?
Yeah. Pardon?
You mean especially how I just gave you for the challenge for the next week? Go ahead and just post, here are the times that. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And then about 3-way calls, oh my gosh, Marie and I have done quite a few, and it's such a great tool. I miss doing them, and I'm so excited about this call. I got to get back into it because I know Marie's story backward and forward, but what's cool is you get to hear her tailor it to who you're talking to, and you just get better at that skill. And the other thing I want to encourage is this call is, I'm so thankful for this call. If you can do a one-on-one, you can host a Discover. 100%. So when you get to learn this, it might seem like, oh my gosh, there's group presentations and there's one-on-ones and then there's Discover Arbonnes. It's really the same enchilada, right? Once you know it, you know it. And the great part about learning Arbonne in a busy life is there's so many tools like this video and YouTube. You basically just brainwash yourself with it and you get to tailor it to any situation. So thank you for this call. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great point. that's what I'm hoping you're seeing from those Discover slides, or even that is Arbonne for you. All the information is the same. Like, we're sharing about our products. And obviously, if you're getting together with someone to share specifically about the business, like I said, you're going to go a little more in depth about how that part works. So as you're scheduling those, especially, you know, those of you that are brand new, or maybe you haven't done one in a while or something, schedule it. Just schedule it. And then you can say, like, okay, I have it scheduled. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? And we can practice through it. Practice through those documents, through that wording. Emily, I think you were going to say something too, so I wanted to give you a chance if you wanted to, not to put you on the spot. But
yeah, it makes me laugh that Stephanie says, if you can do this document, you can present to Discover, because Discover's like make me want to pee my pants, and I, embarrassingly so, have ever yet to do a Discover Arbonne. It's so bad. It's on my like list of things to do here. I've never done a group Discover ever.
Emily, it's the same. I started doing them before. You can do it. You know exactly what to do.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, give me that, like, is Arbonne for you sheet, and I can sit down with like 100 people in a row. But the idea of like presenting, and I don't know, I need to get over that fear and just do it myself. But I was going to say too, I love 3-ways. Like, I feel like when I first started my business, that's like the whole like one-on-one thing kind of happened, but it was more like get them on a 3-way call, And we always had 3-way call challenges. And I love that because you're able to grow so much by listening to somebody else tell the Arbonne story. Like, pick up something every time. I love you said too, like, get to tailor it. Nancy Siegel is really good at, if you have somebody who's like, Nancy Siegel is very blunt. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of in a way sometimes where she doesn't really like, and then like Marie, you're a really good person for anybody who's like stay-at-home mom or like has a husband. You know, I don't know. I love tailoring the 3-way calls to the different VPs, and it's just such a great way to learn because each person talks about it so differently and like presents so differently. And like you said, it's such a good validation. Like, you really hit it home with like, okay, this isn't the only girl who's interested in Arbonne. There's somebody else out there, and they drive the white Mercedes, and they're the proof. So I love the 3-way thing. That's really all I was going to say. I need to implement a little bit more of that into my business, because I feel like as far as like Arbonne goes, I don't feel like we do maybe it's just me and maybe other people are doing 3-way calls, but I don't implement it into my business near enough. So.
No, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. So I was like, I feel like this hasn't come up in a while, and we used to do a ton of them, and we got really good success with them, like really great, in terms of people deciding they want to get started and taking the next steps and stuff. So you honestly too, you can go right to, if you feel like you want to share the business with someone, and when you're calling and asking them to take a look, you can say, I just love to, instead of saying, can we get together and grab coffee or whatever, you could say, I would love to just hop on a quick video chat or on the phone, you know, with one of the women who's helping train me. So, because I need to learn how to share it too. So, you know, it's going to be non-pressuring, but, you know, I would love if you would just, you know, hop on and hear the info. Like, so we can even do that. And where, you know, I would go through the slides or that document and share the key parts about Arbonne. So you can even hear do that. But really, it's learning how to do that is anytime you hear or see anything Discover Arbonne, it's sharing the business opportunity. So plug into those. You know, I know we have some great ones on, if you go to Carlita's website under like opportunity, she has some posted of like Discover Arbonne. So you can go and listen and then practice saying it out loud, like we said, so you don't go bleh. Anything else?
I think too, it could be fun to use the verbiage of, I don't know if anybody's watched like the Ashley Stone 30 and 30 verbiage, just telling people like, I've been challenged to share, get in front of 30 people this month and just share the Arbonne opportunity. I have no idea if it would be a fit for you. It could be fun to also use that as a 3-way call challenge, essentially, by just telling people like, look, I've been challenged to grab, you know, a few friends this week and get them on the phone with my sponsor so that I can learn from her as she shares the Arbonne story. And I have no idea if it'd be a fit for you. You literally sit on the other side of the phone. I think it's a good way too, because then it's, again, like you're learning, and it's a great, I love that verbiage because I feel like it's non-pressureful, and they feel like, oh, I'm just doing you a favor by being one of your first like people. And then they get one of those Arbonne touches that we need. Like sometimes people require a lot of touches. So.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you that have been doing this for a little while, you can even think about this week who you could go back to that maybe you shared it with and then it just never evolved into anything and fell flat, and maybe it was a no for a while, or maybe they never even actually answered, but sometimes they just fall off the face of the planet or whatever. You can try to reach back out to them and say, hey, I know we chatted a while ago. You looked at Arbonne and it wasn't a fit for then, or I'm sorry, I dropped the ball. You can always put it on yourself and just be like, I'm so sorry. I realized I never followed up with you. And usually they're like, oh, it's fine. And you're like, but it just breaks that ice. And you can say, I got thinking, or you came to my mind because I'm doing this challenge, or you came to my mind and, I got thinking that the next step I should have taken with you or offered with you, what we usually do, or what I realized I should have done with you, you could say, is, just connect you to one of the women who's helping train me. And she's, at one of the top levels. And I would just love to connect you to chat with her on video chat or on the phone so that she can, answer any questions that you might still have, and make sure that, I always like to say that, to make sure she has all the information, make sure you have all the information you need to make the decision. So it's almost like they might be thinking, oh, am I missing some information or something? Which, because if they're not at a 10, if they're not a yes, then yeah, there's a gap. There's something missing that's not connecting to them if they're not sure yet. So again, it's great training for you too, because you get to hear how we handle and how we talk through their questions or their fears, their hesitations, their roadblocks, and work them towards that next step. So that's my challenge to you guys, to utilize those. Reach out with any questions you have. Does anybody else have any questions? I mean, this is like territory here.
I have a coffee date at 9:45 tomorrow morning, and this was very helpful because I'm still very nervous because it's a very unique situation. So it's hard because I'm like trying to practice like the regular scenario where I don't really know them. Am I staticky?
Nope.
Okay. And so this is a friend I've known for a long time. She works for another network marketing company, and she told me that she would help me by sitting and letting me practice my presentation. She doesn't know if she'd like to switch, but she's like not really happy with where she is. So I'm excited, and this kind of like motivated me to like have the confidence and just like, I think for me, like Emily tried to get me to do Arbonne for like 5 years. And I was so resistant, I think, because I only knew that Emily did Arbonne. Like, I didn't know anybody else. It wasn't trending. It wasn't something that you heard about often. So I was just like, no, like, you're weird. Like, I don't want to do that. And
Emily's so cool.
I know. It was just like when you don't know what Arbonne is. And she never did, like, a presentation with me or whatever, like, one of these calls. But we had just, like, chatted here and there. But I think having that third party makes such a difference because it does show, like, being in a call like this where there's so many, it's like a little community. People really gain a sense of, like, I can do this. There's a ton of people that do this. So I'm excited to possibly, if she's hesitant, I don't know which way she's going to go. But to just know that I can kind of close with that, if she doesn't want to host or doesn't want to do anything else, to just be like, listen, do me one more favor, like, and bring it in because that might be really cool.
Yeah. And I would even acknowledge the elephant, like when you sit down with her, like I was saying in the beginning, when you're typically talking and hearing like where they're at, what they're for, I would just first say like, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Like, I really appreciate this. I'm excited to share with you what I've found about Arbonne. I know you're with whatever company. So like, I'm just curious before I share with you, are you happy where you're at, or are you coming to this? Like, are you interested in thinking about potentially looking for something else, or are you totally set where you're at? I just want to know exactly what information to give you. And that's really kind of just help you know on the table where she's at. And then that can help you be more confident too. If she's like, well, it's been fine, but I'm not super happy with it. So I don't know if there's a better company, if there's something better, then maybe like, so that's like wide open.
Right.
We don't really go after trying to like get other people, or we definitely don't want to like bash or talk bad about other companies.
Right.
But all you are going to do is share Arbonne with her. You're sharing truth about Arbonne. And if that contrasts with where she's at right now, and she sees this might be a better, like that's going to be obviously her to decide. So yeah, I would just say to her, like, I'm curious, you know, is it going well for you? How's your business going? Like, you can even just start with that. Like, so how's your business going? And, you know, are you loving it? And just start it that way to say, like, she might be like, yeah, I love it. She might be like, it's okay, not really. And be like, so before I share with you what I have to share, I'd love to just know, like, are you open, like, thinking about this for yourself, or are you totally set where you're at right now? And not that that can't change, but you just want to know at that moment where she's at.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think too.
Oh, go ahead, Emily.
Oh, I just think, like, if she's meeting, so, like, if somebody were to contact me and be like, hey, Emily, I sell Rodan and Fields, and I'm, like, in a challenge to share the, you know, just a little bit of information, would you be willing to be one of my people? Even if it was, like, my best friend, I would literally be like, you can share it with me, but, like, I'm not switching. Like, I absolutely love Arbonne. And so I think the fact that, like, she's, like you said, like, she's kind of gets that, like, the company's not really working for her. And also, like, if she's willing to meet with you, she obviously is interested in what you have. Like, so you have to go in, like, with just a little bit of confidence, I think, knowing that she's meeting with you because she clearly is interested in what you have.
Yes.
Totally. And chances are, too, I don't know what company she's with, but we might have products that they don't. So at a minimum, she might be interested in the product user standpoint, you know. But it's going to be interesting. I love sharing the business with people or interacting with people that are parts of other companies, because a lot of times we're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Your company does what? Or you do what? Because, like, we really are the best. And, like, other companies are great. Like, I love network marketing. I buy from them if it's not something we offer. But in terms of building a business, like, we're with the best. So,
all awesome advice.
I told Ash too, like, we did a little bit of research on the company, but I actually had a coffee date with somebody who has worked. It works. So somebody who's been with It Works before, and, like, they don't actually get paid on every. So, like, this is a tip for anybody, I guess. Like, do research on the compensation plan for the other company. Like, It Works doesn't just pay you on the product that you sell. It's, like, weird how you get paid. You have to, like, sell a certain amount, and then you only get a certain percentage based off of that sale. And it's like, you have to bring in, like, a certain number of customer. It's, like, a very weird thing where, like, in Arbonne, you sell a product and you get paid.
Yep.
Also, too, Ashley, like, there's a reason that you said yes to Arbonne, and if you guys are, you know, good enough friends, then she obviously has trust in you and your opinion. So even if you are totally new to this, you're like, I don't know exactly, or I don't know the, you know, perfect verbiage or anything, so open and honest with her, and give her the reasons why you said yes. Like, why did you pick Arbonne and not the company she's with? You know, there had to have been something Emily drilled into your mind. You know, loved about Arbonne or the product. Or what is the hope that you have that you get from Arbonne, and kind of your belief in why you see Arbonne might kind of give her, like, oh, well, that's pretty cool, and I trust my friend. So maybe that could be the same for you. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. I know it'll be exciting next week to see how things turn out. I'll have to keep you guys informed.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you again, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.